Have you ever wished you could get a real sneak peek into the future? Well, it turns out there's a tool that gets us surprisingly close. Today, we're tapping into the incredible world of prediction markets to see what they're telling us right now as of November 1st, 2025, about what's just around the corner. So let's get right into it.
It's the ultimate question, isn't it? And look, while no one has a flawed crystal ball, we have something that gives us some truly fascinating clues. Prediction markets. And right now, the signals they're sending about where we're all headed are frankly too interesting to ignore.
So what are we even talking about here? Well, think of a prediction market kind of like a stock market, but instead of buying shares in a company, people are betting on future events. They put real money on the line, and the prices that shake out give us a real-time probability of something happening. It's the wisdom of the crowd put to the ultimate test.
Okay, so we've essentially taken a snapshot of these markets for today, November 1st, 2025, to see what the collective is thinking. Let's really break down the story this data is weaving, covering everything from politics all the way to the planet.
First up, politics and the economy. If the markets could send us a text message about this, it would probably just say, buckle up. The big takeaway here is that confidence is low, and the sense of risk is, well, it's really high.
And what's really fascinating is how the markets see these two things, politics and the economy, as completely tied at the hip. It's like they're dance partners. If one takes the wrong step, the other one is going down with it. They're being treated as two sides of the same very wobbly coin.
And this table just lays that uncertainty bare. I mean, look at this. There's no clear frontrunner for the next U.S. president. The top contender is barely cracking 30%. But honestly, for anyone watching the economy, the real jaw-dropper is that last line. A nearly 50-50 chance that we'll have a new Fed chair by 2026. That tells you the market is preparing for a massive potential shift in economic policy.
But, okay, while the long-term leadership picture is super murky, the short-term view is actually a bit clearer. The markets are giving it a 2/3 chance, that's 66%, that we'll see an interest rate cut this December. That is a strong signal that traders are expecting a move to give the economy a little boost. By the way, if you find this kind of breakdown valuable, do me a favor and drop a like and share this.
And that little boost might be sorely needed, because the U.S. doesn't exist in a vacuum. When we zoom out, the markets are flashing some pretty serious warning signs globally. They're pricing in a greater than 60% chance of recession in both the UK and Japan. So all this uncertainty at home, it's happening against a really fragile global backdrop.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about tech. Now, this is where things get really interesting because the market almost has a split personality here. It is incredibly confident in tangible, real-world innovation, but way more skeptical about speculative assets. And to keep up with this fast-moving space, you should definitely follow us on Twitter for more updates.
Just get a load of this number, a 92% probability that SpaceX will hit its target of more than 160 launches this year. That is just an insane level of confidence in their ability to execute. As far as the market is concerned, this is pretty much a done deal.
And it's not just in space. The market is also giving Google a 90% chance of shipping its next-generation AI, Gemini 3.0, this year. What this really tells us is that when it comes to the big tech players delivering on their promises, well, the market has almost zero doubt.
But this raises a really important question, right? Does this super bullish, high-conviction view apply to, all of technology? Well, according to the markets, the answer is a resounding not so fast.
And this slide really puts that divide in stark relief. On one side, you've got applied AI, something tangible, where the market gives Anthropic a solid 69% chance of having the best model for coding. But on the other side, you've got crypto, with only a 40% chance that Bitcoin hits a new high of 130K. It's just a much more speculative bet, and you can see the market is treating it exactly that way.
So for our last section, let's turn to climate. And here, unlike the murky waters of politics or the split personality of tech, the market's message is loud, it is clear, and, to be honest, it's pretty concerning. If you want more deep dives into topics just like this one, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel.
When that wisdom of the crowd all starts singing the same tune, it's probably a good idea to listen. And when it comes to near-term climate events, the message is coming through with practically zero static.
I mean, this is just stunning. A 99% probability that major U.S. cities will hit their forecasted high temperature for today. Look at that, it's across the board. At a 99% level of certainty, that's not really a prediction anymore. From the market's point of view, it's just a fact.
So here it is, the critical takeaway from this whole journey.
We've seen everything from deep uncertainty about our political and economic future, all the way to near absolute certainty on short-term warming. It's just amazing how wildly the market's confidence can swing depending on the subject.
Okay, so what does all of this actually mean when we put it all together? Let's try to boil down this collective wisdom into a few key takeaways you can actually walk away with. So, to recap, here's what the markets are telling us. A volatile political scene is creating a lot of risk. We should expect economic headwinds, both here and around the world. There's a huge split between confident bets on core tech and pure speculation in other assets. And finally, there's an overwhelming consensus on short-term climate trends. If this summary helped you connect the dots, we'd really appreciate a like.
In the end, these prediction markets give us this incredible map of what the crowd believes is going to happen. But that also raises one last crucial question. If this is what everybody expects, what are we all missing? Where are the blind spots that could change absolutely everything? And that's the question we'll leave you with. Thanks for tuning in.